Hello everyone. Today I am going to do a very quick deck tech and guide for some very beginner friendly, very early game farming for Elements the game. This is a nice online based card game. Think of it as Magic the Gathering, except very simplified, very light. But then instead of 5 colors, they have 12. So, kind of a balancing the scales in that way there. But the card pool for each color, there's definitely a fair amount. And there's a lot of fun and experimenting to be done with each of the cards and card types. But for right now, in order to get that many cards, this game with its updated version, it is based on booster packs. So in order to get booster packs, you have to get gold. This is an in-game currency. There's no microtransactions or anything like that, so mad respect there. But it is still random chance what cards that you do get, even if you do want to select specific elements. So, like, let's say you are interested in building a fire deck, you can choose fire as your element. Then you click on the booster pack that you're looking to go to. We'll just choose a bronze one, the lowest cost, but as it says here, 10 commons. Then you just click buy pack, and it'll show you which cards that you get. As you can see, most of them are fire. There are 2 darkness cards here and 1 earth card. There is a little bit of random chance in there. Not every card you get would be of the specified element, but it is heavily favored into the element that you chose. So once you kind of get a sense of which element you like and where you want to take your deck, or if you see a particular strategy that you like and you want to go that direction and you know that you need the cards for it. Currently, the Bazaar, which is supposed to be for directly buying and trading with other players, not really functional right now. So the only way you could do it is through the shop, which is the booster packs there. In order to do that, you're going to need a quick and efficient way of getting gold. And while there are plenty of ways to do it, while there are plenty of players who are much more intelligent than I am, who have designed very specific decks specifically for champion and demigod farming, for newer players, this is very unrealistic. So I wanted to try and find one of the best ways to get a lot of gold for new players in the quickest fashion possible, so they can crack packs like it's candy and eventually build up to the deck that they want to do. So the way we're going to do that, I'm going to show you 2 versions of the deck. The unupgraded version, which is very easy to get, and then the upgraded version, which is a lot more efficient and a lot more powerful. When you do the unupgraded version, you're going to be farming commoners, which is, there's no cost to fight a commoner. And it does say the reward is 10 gold, which doesn't sound like much, but there are percentage boosters based on how well you do in the game. So if you perform a match very quickly, or if you have a higher health total, or like the more health you have, you get a definite increase. And if you perform near perfectly, whatever that may look like, this 10 could easily turn into a 25, even 30 gold, just from fighting a commoner and being the best that you could be. So to start off, but both of these deck types, really it's only one deck. English is hard. An unupgraded version and an upgraded version. This is my mono air Windrush deck. If you ever played Magic the Gathering, you can equate this to mono green elves. Very similar concept. You're going to be producing a lot of mana, or in this game it's called Quanta. You're going to be producing a lot of Quanta very quickly, and then using that to either play more things all at once or play bigger things all at once. So to start off, I'm going to show you the unupgraded version. I'm just going to start calling it non-up. It's so much easier. What you'll see here, you can only have a total of 6 of each type of card. So in this case, 6 dragonflies, which are basically equate them to your typical Land of War elves, Elvish Mystic, Fyndhorn elves, that kind of thing. Whenever they attack, you add an air quanta. So this stacks up really quickly. We also have worms. These are going to be our kind of like step up from there when we want to go a little bit more aggro. We want to hit a little bit harder. these really, fundamentally, these really aren't that great. Just a 3/4 with airborne, which basically means flying. Attacking and defending is a little bit different in this game than Magic, but for all intents and purposes, it's a keyword that equates to flying. But you can double its strength through the next attack if you pay 1 air quanta. So this 3/4 becomes a 6/4. You can do that once per turn. That the damage can add up really quickly. More importantly, for 6 quanta, we have the Griffin. Whoops, I removed one. It doesn't really do much there, but a 7/3 with flying for 6 quanta, that's really good. That's going to be a lot of damage very quickly. And then lastly, we have the Azure Dragon, which is basically each element will have their own type of dragon. In the case of wind, it's Azure, 9/6 with, airborne flying, for 10 quanta. It really isn't that great as far as stats are concerned. The Griffin has much better stats. The only thing that the Griffin is lacking is toughness, so it's very easy or subject to removal. But at least the cost is very cheap, so it's very cost effective, and I like seeing Griffins more than I like seeing the dragons. That's why I only put 2 dragons in the deck. However, between the dragonflies and the wind pillars, the pillars, each color has its own pillar. Those are the equivalent of like basic lands. Between the dragonflies and the pillars, you will get all the quantity that you need to get the Azure Dragon out as you need it. So that part's perfectly fine. So to start talking about the upgraded version, you can upgrade cards in this game to give them more powerful effects. The way you do that is if you have 6 copies of a particular card. So if you have 6 dragonflies, you can pay all 6 of them in the upgrade shop to turn them into a Dame's Fly. And so for comparison, a dragonfly is a 2/1 with airborne that you gain an air quanta when it attacks, but it costs 1 air quanta to play. The upgraded Dame's Fly doesn't cost anything. If you look at the card, you see it up at the top right corner. There is no cost there, as opposed to like the Griffin that costs 6. When it comes to the pillars, whenever you upgrade those are upgraded a little bit differently, because you already have an endless count of pillars in your, stock, whatever you want to call it. You pay 50 gold per pillar to turn it into a tower. And what a tower does, it's the exact same thing. Each turn you get an air quanta, but with a pillar, it's just, super basic. You just gain it every turn. With a tower, you gain an additional air quanta when you play it, and it doesn't cost anything to actually play. The difference with the worm, it's a lot more powerful. Instead of the 3/4, this one is 5/3. So when you double its attack, it becomes a 10/3. That's a lot more efficient, and that's why I still like running the worms in the deck. Griffins, they gain a little bit more toughness. Honestly, you don't really need to upgrade the Griffins if you don't want to, but they are a little bit harder to remove when they have that additional toughness. So if you can upgrade them, it's worth it. I would say what you're looking to do as far as an upgrade path, you're going to be upgrading all of your all your pillars into towers before anything else. Then you're going to upgrade the Dame's Flies. Then you want to upgrade the worms. Then you want to upgrade the Griffins. Even though playing priority is different, like when you're actually playing a game with how much quantity you're going to be generating, you want to play Griffins before anything else. Then you want to play the worms. Then you want to play the Dame's Flies, as you get into the later turns. But then, in addition to all of the upgraded cards that we talked about, of course, we still have our 2 dragons. I haven't upgraded them yet. I don't think I'm going to upgrade them because a 9/6 is already good enough. I believe an upgraded dragon is a 12/9, but it costs 12 quanta to play instead of just 10. So there's a little bit of a trade-off there. Owl's Eye, it's a weapon type, specifically the air weapon type. I'm not going to go into weapons and shields. I would highly recommend playing the tutorial to get a good idea as to what that looks like. But basically, I do like having 3 copies of Owl's Eye because of its activated ability, paying 2 air quanta to deal 3 damage to target creature. Unfortunately, you can only activate this once per turn. Otherwise, weapons with activated abilities would be broken. But this is really nice for removal whenever you can afford it. If you can get an Owl's Eye out early, which, trust me, this deck can very easily do, you're more worried about actually having an Owl's Eye in your opening hand than you are being able to have the quanta to play it, then this deck goes far. And then Shards of Freedom, I kind of throw them in there just because I had them and I liked them. Basically, it helps your creatures with Airborne. Lo and behold, literally all of them. It helps them have a chance to get past shields. And shields will, I've noticed, shut down this deck fairly well. That being said, I also had a very low win rate with this type of deck before I actually found out that Air has a card that lets you go through shields pretty effectively. So, yeah, these are the decks. There are deck links. I'm not going to go over the codes because they're complicated letters and numbers. However, I will post the deck codes in the description of this video when I upload it. So that way you could just when you get into the deck editor, you could copy and paste the whole code, put it in here. It'll show you how many cards you do have, how many cards you don't, what you need to get in order to get this specific version of the deck. So yeah, ultimately, pretty nice way to do it. So I'll post those codes there for both the upgraded and unupgraded version because they're different types of cards. They will have different types of deck codes. But yeah, so to give you an idea as to what your game plan is going to be, it's not hard at all to get the different cards that you're looking to get for this starter Windrush deck for the unupgraded version, because you already have as many pillars as you need. And then you'll notice the symbols on the side of the card. So Dragonfly, for example, it is 1 air quanta to play. The paw print means that it's a creature type, or just a creature card in general. And then that little circle at the bottom refers to its rarity. The fact that it's just a dumb gray circle means that it is a common. So this is a common. The worms are commons, and the griffins are commons. The Azure Dragons, those have a green symbol on them, so it means that they're uncommons. If you don't have the Azure Dragons, heaven forbid, you really don't need them. They just help speed up the deck a little bit. But yeah, because this is literally basically a common deck. Super easy to get the starter cards, and it's also very easy to invest in a lot of wind packs through the shop I showed you earlier in order to get more than enough copies of the card. Like you could get, I don't know, I think it's 42 of a specific card type that you need minimum in order to get a full playset of upgraded, because it's 6 to convert, and then I think the game doesn't let you convert cards if you don't have 6 to spare. So 36 plus 6 would be 42. But it's very easy to get 42 copies of Dragonflies. Honestly, for me to get the upgraded version of the deck probably took me like about 3 hours of playtime. That's the thing about this deck. The reason that this works as effectively as it does is because even though it's not going to have the greatest win rate, I think it has I'd say about a 70% win rate, which against commoners and mages does not sound great at all. And it's not great at all. But this deck, win or lose, is fast. Very, very fast. And when you have fast games, you're going to be able to play more games. And at a 70% win rate, when you're playing quick games, those you can get a lot of gold very quickly in a couple of hours. So to show you what I mean, I'll start you off with the unupgraded deck against commoners. Unupgraded does not really do much against mages, because mages have really good decks, and they can even beat the upgraded version fairly simply. But starting upgraded, going into a commoner. Another thing that's nice about this deck that also makes it really quick, you don't really have bad hands. Obviously, you have no pillars and no flies, then yeah, your hands are not going to be great. But generally speaking, there's enough pillars and enough of the dragonflies or dame's flies that you can get around it. So we're just going to accept our hand, dump out all of our pillars, end the turn. They play this, we don't care. Got 2 dragonflies and a worm. So right off the bat, just by, turn 2, we played out a lot of our creatures from our hand, and now we have the Quana in our pool to be able to play our bigger creature on turn 3. And we also have enough to double the attack of this creature. So right off the bat, we started dealing 7 damage that first turn because 100 to 93 is 7, but now we're doing 17 total. So we end the turn. Got this, that's fine. And really, with this deck, it's super simple. It's just a matter of dumping out your hand, and before you know it, you're going to win a match. And like I said, even though the reward was it just says 10 gold, I think it's a minimum of 10 gold if you do win. I got 15 gold because of victory streak bonus, 76 seconds, like over a minute to go through that game. But that's unfair because I was also explaining things as they happened. Once you get the upgraded against the mages, which I'm going to show you next, you're going to be speedrunning through this. It's going to take you between 25 and 30 seconds, and that's even being on a high end. That's pretty good. So we're just going to exit this because fighting commoners is boring. We're going to get our upgraded deck, which shouldn't take you any more than a couple of hours to fully upgrade. Go into mages, and then I'm not going to explain everything I do because, for one thing, the video's gone on long enough already, if I'm being honest. 2, the tutorial does a very good job of explaining how the game works. So if you go into quests, there is a tutorial section that explains everything about the game. Definitely play this. The tutorial is very well written out. Any questions that you have about the game, it will be displayed in here somewhere. And then third, this deck is, especially the upgraded version against mages, it is actually fairly brain dead. This is a very simple deck. There's not too much thinking about it, so this is something you can do in the background. And this is something you just kind of click through. It almost plays out like a mobile game, to be honest. A lot of more complicated decks, they don't have that luxury. You do actually have to think about what you're doing. But for this Windrush deck, nah, you're good. So, upgraded version, Mage. I'll take you through a couple of games to show you how quickly they go. Except... $29 seconds, not bad. Much better hand. $22 seconds. $24. 29. But also notice, not only because of, you can look through all the stats, see that, you're getting all these bonuses, percentage bonuses based on how well you did in a game. Even though for the Mage, it says that the base reward is 20 gold. Because of all of how well and quickly you do this in a match, it actually turns out being 33 gold. You do 3 games of those. Actually, no, let's up that. Let's say you do 5 games of those, and on average, you're getting about 30 gold per game. You do 5 games of those, which at 29 to 30 seconds, that's about 2.5 minutes. That is already 10 bronze packs. If you want to spend the extra gold, play a few more games. Eventually, if you want to get up to like 250 gold in your card pool, that would be 10 silver packs, which helps you get some additional uncommons. So as you can see, just by grinding out the number 2 Mage here with an upgraded mono wind aggro deck, it adds up very quickly. Yeah, how long was it? It was less than, it was 17 seconds just for that one. And that got me 34 gold there. And then just continuing. Upgrading these towers and dragonflies to get them out for free and then get additional quanta per turn, that adds up very quickly. I really should be killing these vampires, but... I'd say that took 7 seconds because I actually wanted to think about that one and actually do some creature removal on that, because that is, sometimes to guarantee victory, you have to play a little bit smarter. I know I said this deck was brain dead, and it can be brain dead. As you can see, it's very quick for me to get specific cards out, but... and still averaging about a little bit over 30 gold per match. So what did I start off with? Like 330 something gold. If I just exit out of this, I'm already up to 544 gold. And this is after me spending like so much gold upgrading pillars into towers and buying packs and everything like that. So yeah, hopefully you guys saw, a basic if you're interested in getting into Element, but you're worried about, the time and investment into getting gold to get packs to potentially get cards that you do want and cards that you didn't even think about before. I hope that this is a decent enough deck explanation to show how you can do it really quickly, really efficiently, and at little to no cost, since really, with the deck starting off as basically all commons. If you take the 2 dragons out, it's all commons. Super easy to get. And then if you continue to go through the bronze packs, like for example here, 544 gold, let's say go to the shop, specifically air, and then specifically bronze. There's also a max buy option, which will turn the number of packs that you buy up to the highest amount that you can with how much gold you have. And then you click on buy packs, it'll add 36 bronze packs, predominantly of air cards, to your card pool. A lot of them are going to be the dragonflies, worms, and griffins, because those are all commons. So, 10 commons times 36 packs, that's 360 common cards, and none of them are ever going to be pillars because you already have an unlimited supply of pillars. So yeah, ultimately I highly recommend this deck if you're just starting out. Afterwards, once you choose an element that you like, if you want to get into death darkness combo deck, 36, half of that is math. 15 plus is 18. So if you want to do 18 darkness packs and then 18 death packs, go for it. Yeah, afterwards, once you get the gold running, once you get the cards in the card pool, once you start upgrading things and you start experimenting, you're going to have a field day. This is a really nice casual game to go forth with. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you have any questions about elements, there is a Discord channel that is free to join. Definitely check them out. Ask questions. The community there is super nice. If you have any questions specifically about this air deck, leave them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer specific questions. If you have any suggestions as to how you should upgrade an air deck, I'm more than willing to listen. I'm going to stray away from air for a while. I'm going to start experimenting with the other elements once I have a better idea as to what exactly I'm looking for. But other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day.